So let's talk about what we mean by reactive reparenting. So as is true in any relationship, whether it's an internal relationship between your adult and child self, or whether it's an external relationship between you and another person, there are bound to be ruptures in the relationship. Okay. And ruptures are those misses in the relationship where something just doesn't feel good, whether, most of the time it's very unintentional, of course, but it doesn't feel good. And there will be ruptures between you and your child self. There will be times where your child self has wants and needs. And for different reasons, your adult self is not as attuned to that, not as responsive to that as your child self would like. And it's going to create some distress, some pain, some internal struggle. So reactive reparenting is being attuned to when those experiences happen, when those ruptures between the child and adult self happen. And then your adult self steps in and says, hey, I see that this isn't feeling good. And this relationship is very, very important. And let's kind of work through this so that you, child self, can feel heard, so that we can process through whatever has happened and kind of bring things back to a place where it feels connected and loving. Okay, so that's kind of what we mean by reactive reparenting. Looks like you might want to say something.
Yeah, so we had talked about kind of along those lines, like oftentimes, when you're looking at a reactive approach to reparenting,
Mm-hmm.
there might be a feeling like we're always wanting our clients to connect up to their feelings. We've talked about that many times. What am I
Yep.
feeling? What am I needing? So if you're feeling very, let's say, angry.
Yeah.
Okay, so the adult part is feeling very angry and you're not really sure why. So you're kind of like aware, you're connected to that feeling of anger. You're kind of reviewing what's happened for the past couple of hours. When did that feeling of anger start? And you are just like drawing a blank. Okay. So that might be a good time in a reactive way to kind of go in and do some imagery work and
Right.
check in with your child.
Yep.
Okay. And see how they're feeling. And maybe they're not feeling angry. Maybe it's just solely the adult that's feeling angry. Okay. But sometimes it can be the child part that is feeling angry. Okay. And so if you stop and you then do some open-ended exploration, how are you feeling? I'm feeling angry. Okay. What's making you feel angry? Or when did you start feeling angry?
Yep.
Okay. I'm angry at, let's say this friend of yours, okay, of the adult. Well, what's making you feel that way? I always feel neglected, when we go out to lunch with this person. They make me feel like I'm non-existent. Okay. So then you're exploring that. How do you feel about this friend in general? Okay. I feel like they put me down all the time. Okay. I don't like that friend. Okay. So now your adult's like, wow, like I didn't even recognize that. And then you check in with yourself and say, I wonder if there's any of that I feel as well. Okay. So that's a great way to kind of say, I'm not aware within my adult self of what's making me feel this way. Let me check in with my child part, see if I can get some information from that aspect of kind of like my inner world, and then use this kind of overture to that child as a way to know more about what's going on within yourself.
Right. Yeah. So you are reacting to an emotional trigger or response that you are having to something. And you may not be totally aware of why you're having that reaction or that response. So you're going to slow down and check in to find out what's going on. And maybe, to expand on what, on your great example, it might be that your adult is angry. And then when you check in with your child, he or she is scared. Right. So now it's like, okay, I'm feeling angry. There's this other layer here, this part that's holding a different emotion. What's going on that feels scary? And then what do you need from me, child self, to help you feel more secure or more protected.
Love
So
it.
that's what we mean by the reactive reparenting. It's when those things erupt, when those triggers happen, when those emotions get activated, then you are responding to that situation, to that emotional experience inside with curiosity, compassion, really checking in with that younger part of you that may be reacting to something. And you're coming in as that parent to say, hey, I see something's going on.
Right.
This
Right.
really reminds me of, in an external relationship, what we do with our children, with our parents, with our partners, our coworkers. We see something happening with them. They're behaving differently, they're speaking differently, they're withdrawing, and we say, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Did something happen? Can I do anything to help you? And so you are reacting to something that you see happening with
Mhm.
them. So it's very much that same process that we're asking all of you to internalize, where you're noticing an emotional reaction or response, and then you're attuning to that and checking it out.
Right.